I suppose one should start at the beginning and say that my father was in the 9th Light Horse in World War I, and because of that, it influenced my brother to join the army. And my father's comment was, if you join the army, there's only one way to do it, go through Duntroon. And that's comments to my brother, who was 9 years older than I am. So my brother went to Duntroon in 1937, and that's what gave me the inclination too. The army suited me, and so I applied in 1946 and went in 1947. After graduation, I was posted in January to then the 1st Battalion of the Royal Australian Regiment, then at Ingleburn in Sydney. That was my start of my regimental life. So in June I was posted overseas, and in July I was in Korea as a platoon commander. In October of 1951, it was called in those days Operation Commando. Today it's known as the Battle of Marian San. It went for 7 days, and I can just pick one day out which stands out to me. The day is Sunday the 7th of October, and the British battalion has tried very hard to get hold of a feature called 217. It had failed for 3 or 4 days, and their casualties were astronomical. Our own casualties weren't light either. But anyway, my company, B Company, was given the task of attacking from a hill called 317 down the ridge to a middle part called the Hinge, and if successful, go on to 217. And we were well supported. You know, there were tanks from funny places, could probably get a shot in. Mortars were laid on, machine guns were laid on, everything was going well. And away we went, or 2 platoons went, and the rest came, company headquarters, and the 3rd platoon came behind. When we got to the actual Hinge, we went through where the Chinese had been encamped. And the cooking utensils were cold, which surprised us. Does this mean they'd taken off? I don't know. Well, cut a long story short, we continued our patrolling down this ridgeline. Suddenly all hell broke loose behind us. The Chinese had left the Hinge, but they'd gone down the side. The ridgeline was no wider than this, and straight down the sides. And they just pulled off the sides. They let the 2 forward platoons go past, then they'd come up and they'd hit the company headquarters. In fact, the first person they killed was the company sergeant major and a few others, and then they hit the reserve platoon. That was the start of a long day. By about we started at 8 o'clock in the morning. At 20 past 9, we had actually got to we're all back in the one position, centralised. And we had to try and dig in because they were shelling and mortaring us again. Even though their own people hadn't withdrawn, they were still putting shells and mortars in. So we had to use their holes to start with, which were all facing the wrong direction, to cut long story short. So it took a while to reorganise that. And then we started to look around, and our own casualties were building. A company up on top of the hill, 317, came to join us, which meant we could go out a little bit. But more casualties that afternoon meant we had to come in again. So anyway, by dusk that night, we were feeling fairly secure. I had to make certain all my blokes were in what I call 2-man trenches. That gives you company, doesn't it? It helps your morale a bit. And 8 o'clock came. Well, it was all quiet as quiet as can be. And suddenly went bang. For the next 45 minutes, the Chinese artillery and mortars was unbelievable. A, their accuracy, and B, the intensity of it. And for 45 minutes non-stop. Right, the last attack occurred about 5:15 in the morning. Prior to that, we'd run out, several times during the night, we'd ran out of ammunition. And we were then told, it was before dusk, we were then told that we would not do our normal clearing patrols at Stand 2, although we stood 2 at sunrise, just before sunrise. We were not doing our normal clearing patrols. We would let the Chinese clear their own battlefield. A very humane thing, but not to have cleared it meant that I couldn't see what was out there. So perhaps wrongly now, I suppose. No, not wrongly. At least I put out a couple of sentries to at least have some eyes what was going on. And then it was announced that we'd be replaced. At 9 o'clock next morning, along came the Kingstown Scottish Borderers and took each company in turn and replaced us. So we were very happy. We had started the week, or 5 to 6 days earlier, we'd started with a company of 78, and that morning when we left there were 51 of us. If I was a young, naive whippersnapper, on the 7th, I wasn't by the morning of the 8th. I think I'd matured a bit.